ever regret doing this, or I wish I didn't sell the house?
When you're making this big life decision like we did, like there's a lot more questions that pop up than you anticipate, and there's a lot to talk through and figure out. And we know that we can work things out together. We may not be in agreement at the beginning, but we know we'll get there.
Right. And
we're both sort of reasonable people. So
I mean, our friends don't think we're reasonable. We're like, we're selling everything and leaving the country. We've learned so much, not only about ourselves, but about the world that we didn't know existed outside of our little comfort zone in California. And it's been amazing.
Welcome to Your Success. You've built a life others admire. You've achieved, delivered, and become someone people rely on. But somewhere along the way, it stopped feeling like yours. Mentor Krister Johnson and Ellen Solheim know that feeling. After following successful paths of their own, they chose something different. More clarity, more freedom, more presence. Today, they help high achievers design lives that feel true, not just impressive. This podcast is for those ready for their next chapter. Not more pressure, not more performance, but a life that feels like yours with clarity and direction. Welcome to Your Success.
Warm welcome to the To Your Success podcast. This is a special episode. I'm Krister Johnson. With me today is
Ellen Solheim, as always.
And we have two guests here. We have Nancy and Jason from America, and we are going to share this podcast with them and with you because they actually did what most people are really afraid to do. So, this is the first time we have guests on the podcast.
Yeah.
So it is as exciting and strange to us as it is to everyone else. But we just jump into it. So warm welcome, Jason and Nancy. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where do you come from, your story?
you can kick us off.
All right. Well, I'm Nancy. This is Jason, just to be clear. We are from the United States, and we've been married for going on 29 years here. And we've got 3 boys, and we've just kind of been doing exactly what we were supposed to do, the way we were told growing up, right?
Right. I mean, I'll just add for background perspective, we're sort of originally from Texas, but we lived in California for the last 10 years before deciding to jump off into this new lifestyle journey.
Right, because now we're traveling the world full time, and our boys are adults, 21 through 26. There's 3 of them, and they're doing fantastic. And it was a lot to consider before we decided to leave, and before we decided to kind of quit that kind of lifestyle and jump into a whole new arena that we knew nothing about, per se.
And now we're just traveling the world and figuring things out as we go.
And we're in Saranda, Albania today, which I never thought I would ever say in my life.
Yeah.
I didn't even know where Saranda was.
Yeah, 2 years ago, it was never a thought to be anywhere in the Balkans, Albania or anywhere else, and like that's how quickly all this happens.
Yeah.
What was the first seed? What happened that made this thought come to you?
Yeah, it was a culmination of things, but I think getting to the point where we are now, where we're traveling full time, was I had recently turned 50, and at some point you get to a point where you start reassessing where you're at in your life and where you want to be, and work was really demanding and stressful for me at that time. And I would spend 11, 12 hours a day at work, and I wasn't doing things that were personally fulfilling to me. So it sort of gets the mind going. What else should I be doing? And yeah, I could go get another job, or we could launch.
Yeah,
off
but
and try
you'd already
something
done
else.
that. You'd already gotten another job.
Yeah, I knew what that looked like.
You're already going to jump into another pot.
Right. So I knew that wasn't going to fulfill me. Even though the work I was doing was pretty cool, right? I was a program manager for the space industry. We would send hardware into space, into satellites, and that's pretty cool. I think most people would think that's a pretty cool job. Why would you ever want to leave that? Well, because it's also a grind. It's very demanding. It doesn't give you time for yourself to pursue your own interests. So it was something I really struggled with. And so, as I got to thinking about, what are the other options for us, you just kind of come across things. And I came across that people were traveling full time, and the more I got into it, the more I thought, well, this sounds kind of interesting. We've always loved to travel. We haven't done enough of it, I think, together up to this point.
Right.
And it was just something that was really appealing. And then you think, well, how would we ever afford this? And how would we ever, how could we leave people behind?
Lots
and
of
how could,
questions.
there's so many questions that you have to go through before you do something like this.
And at the same time, we had started realizing that over the last few years, we were losing people that were very close to us, friends that just passed suddenly, or they were injured, and their life changed in one way or another in a way that they couldn't recover from it. And we were thinking, what are we waiting for? But of course, those conversations were happening on the side as Jason was kind of burning out from his job. So it was kind of like the perfect storm coming together, I guess, for us in our mind.
Yeah, I mean, you think about so many people who, like we said, that we knew that even if they don't pass away, they get injured or they get sick and they don't get to, fulfill kind of the dreams and desires that they've had in their lives. And I think that struck chords with us as we were seeing, example after example of people who aren't going to be able to fulfill dreams or potential, that sort of thing. We thought, well, we don't want that to be us. We don't want that to be anybody that we love and care about.
But we're like, we have a
but
window.
we can do something about it.
Yeah, there's like a window of opportunity, and it seems to be coming up, and we either jump in now, or we don't know what it's going to look like tomorrow, so we're going to go ahead and go. But Jason brought it up to me, and it was a whole process of us talking through it. I wasn't an immediate yes, but I definitely was not an immediate no. It was kind of like, say more. And then together over the long few months or couple years, we figured it out.
Yeah, because you have a different background. Well, you have an engineering background as well, Nancy, but you have a different.
I
career.
do, yes. Yeah, so I'm a mechanical engineer as well. That's how we met in college. I did engineering for a few years after college, and then I started to drown between wanting to be at work and also wanting to be with my children. And it was kind of like I was working so much that we had about a half an hour of quality time with our son, our oldest son, and that quality time was really in the car driving home from work after picking him up. And I really felt guilty about all that in so many different ways. And so that was another one of these, can we figure this out so that I can, be a work from home mom, I'll figure something out. But I will, I knew that I would probably not do well if I wasn't doing something else besides, watching my kids and doing that. So I started another business from home and just grew that slowly and slowly. But we've always known that whatever it is that we decide to do, we'll be okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but eventually you got into.
Oh yeah,
acting.
eventually I transitioned into acting. Sorry, thank you. This is what we do. He's like, finish my sentence.
Yeah,
But,
you've been married so long, so that's coming.
Yeah, and so I went from engineering to running a business from my home, and then this guy decided to open another box for me and said, why don't you get into modeling and acting? And of course, I didn't see that for myself. I couldn't see that yet. He could. So I just leaned into his belief, and lo and behold, he was right. So I got into the industry and kind of got sucked into commercials and film and TV, and I've been an actor for the last 20 years. And now an acting coach, which is a whole nother story, but that's one of the ways that we figured out that we could easily support ourselves if I just continued the business that I'd already created as an acting coach. And so I still do that remotely.
Yeah, and part of her being successful when we lived in Texas, successful as an actor, was it sort of helped us to make the decision to move to California much easier, because it would be, hopefully beneficial to her career, which it was.
Right.
Because we wanted a change at that point too.
Right.
You may see a little bit of a pattern that we like to have change every now and then and pursue the things that we're really interested in.
Yeah.
At that time. So we said, we've been to California several times. We like the lifestyle, that sort of thing. So we said, hey, this would be good for you career-wise. We want to be by the beach anyway, and bring our kids out there and kind of raise them in that lifestyle. So all that stuff kind of came together.
Yeah,
and allowed us to make that move.
Yeah, it came
over 10 years
together.
ago.
Yeah, it came together kind of in a way that we would have never considered, in that I had been an actor in Texas for 8 years and was doing really well and had done films and TV and was traveling all over. And then my longtime agent just kind of decided to steal a whole bunch of money from me, which I discovered. And then, of course, that was devastating. I thought we were friends, but, things kind of go awry sometimes.
She had some issues.
She had issues.
So then circling back to your story, when I listened to your story, I was like, you are used to doing transitions, right? So you are comfortable. You said something important, Nancy, that whatever happens is going to be okay. You have a huge trust in yourself. You have a huge trust in you as a couple, right?
Right.
That is an important thing in a transition, like, because you sold the house, you sold everything, right? So you just decided, okay, we cut, right? We make a true transition. We haven't done that. We have our house in Norway still, and that was more important to Ellen than to me. Because I was ready just to sail, but I'm really glad we have the house now. I didn't know we should run a business from the boat when I said I want to sail around the world, but you are used to doing the transitions, right? And you cut the cord completely. Was there a touch of fear, insecurity in that process?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Because we went back and forth. Do we rent it and keep it, or do we sell it? And that was almost down to the wire when we were putting the sign in our front yard.
Yeah, we did, like, my original thought was we were going to keep it and we were going to rent it out. But, we still owed quite a bit on it. It's, bought the house in California. We'd been in for 10 years. It wasn't paid off. And, just the risks of being on the other side of the world and having this big asset back home, that's a significant part of your wealth, but also a huge part of your debt, right? That was just a really uncomfortable spot for us.
It's a massive responsibility.
Yeah, and when we ran the numbers and looked at them forwards and backwards, it just made the most sense to sell it. And it was really hard because we loved our house, we loved our neighborhood, we loved our neighbors, our kids grew up there. Like, this was not an easy thing to do. But when you look at
part of your identity, I think.
Right.
Absolutely.
And we even thought, okay, well, what do we do with our furniture? Should we keep it and store it? And then we realized, well, when and if we come back and we've sold our house, we don't even know where we would put that furniture. And now we've paid so much for a storage unit that has a bunch of. It was just like it just kept snowballing into. I think we just need to cut it and go.
Yeah, when you're making this big life decision like we did, like, there's a lot more questions that pop up than you anticipate, and there's a lot to talk through and figure out. And like you said, we just have faith that we'll figure it out, because we've been through a lot of these decisions and conversations, and we know that we can work things out together. We may not be in agreement at the beginning, but we know we'll get there.
Right. And
we're both sort of reasonable people. So
sometimes. I mean, our friends don't think we're reasonable. We're like, we're selling everything and leaving the country. But at the same time, we don't even know what all the questions are to ask until we're there. And so I think that's the trust part, where we've done our research, our diligence. We know that we can figure it out. And so as questions come up, we'll figure it out. Like just yesterday, we went to the dentist in Saranda, Albania. It's like, oh yeah, we have to continue our lives as we move around, just as we would at home. So
it's easy to forget that.
Yeah, we're like, oh yeah, we need a teeth cleaning.
We're still living normal lives. We're just like bouncing around from place to place.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's the same challenge as we face. We never know. I mean, we have a grocery list. Just to take the basic thing, it's like, okay, I need to fill water on the boat today because we're sailing to Greece tomorrow. And it's like, do we have water? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do we have power? Yes or no?
Do we have soy sauce?
The most important.
Now
Very important.
You're hitting
Where
it
do we
close
get
to me.
Mexican food?
Mexican food, yeah.
Yeah, Mexican food. It's like, okay, so this morning we didn't have very much breakfast because we didn't do grocery shopping yesterday, and then it's kind of, well, we have to, we have our kick bikes, right? So it's easier to go shopping, but still all these things, right? For us, we talked about that a lot the last couple of days. It's like, why do we actually do this? We don't do it because it's easy. We do it because it's hard, because it is a challenge, right? It's a new thing.
Yes.
Is that the same thing for you?
Yeah, this is not easy. It's fun,
Yeah.
right?
It is fun. We like the challenge, and maybe we didn't know this so much before we started doing this, but I think we like the challenge of going somewhere new every month or sometimes every week, and just acclimating to that and seeing what it's like, and just adjusting, right? It kind of keeps life interesting.
I mean, it really keeps your brain working, right? Which way is north and south? I don't even know anymore. Like, where are we? And to some people, that would be jarring. But to us, it's exciting. It's like adventure
Yes.
and exploring. And we've learned so much, not only about ourselves, but about the world that we didn't know existed outside of our little comfort zone in California. And it's been amazing.
I remember when I saw your Instagram account the first time, and I saw this movie of you, Jason, being released into the to the wild again from
To the free,
yeah, to the free run, and it it just caught my attention, and I was thinking that you are the kind of people, you are the like-minded people like us. You want to explore, you want to do something different, and you want to do it together, and you grow together while you're doing it. And by the way, people should follow your account. So it's the what do you call it?
Our Freedom Project Life.
Yeah.
Our Freedom Project Life.
Yeah, because we ended up becoming your biggest followers, as I told you. We followed you all the way to Montenegro.
Thank you.
And we're glad you did. It was such a pleasure to meet you.
We sailed to Montenegro to meet you.
I did the Pacific.
But do you know that that's what's been so amazing is that this we've met more people and made more friends in the last 4 months of us traveling than in years of just doing our normal daily life where you don't expand your circle. You know, it's just the people you work with, the people you're in your neighborhood, the friends you already have, which is always so difficult to break into those cliques and those groups because they're already established. But here, yesterday there's a bar downstairs from where our apartment is, and we can hear a lot of English every night. And so we actually had some friends over last night for dinner, and in our apartment, and we were walking them downstairs, and there was this group of people just sitting there. And so I just walked over there and I said, "So what's going on here?" And they were like, "Oh, we're expats. Come and sit with us." And I was like, "Wow, there's a whole nother group." And so it's just the more we're out there, the more people you meet, and it's enlightening.
Yeah, definitely.
I think what happens, first of all, going back then to I think, Jason, what you described is that you start feeling pain over living the same life every day. One day becomes a week, becomes a month, becomes a year, and then you say, at New Year's Eve, you say, now it's going to change, and nothing happens, right?
Right, exactly.
And it's fun that for me as a mentor, that you say it's a project, that your Instagram account is a project too, because you're both project managers, so you run it as a project. But all projects have a goal, right? So you have a clearly defined goals, and that is what most people miss. In absence of clearly defined goals, people become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until they ultimately become enslaved by it, right? And that is what happens. You just become enslaved by it. Some of us, like me, I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. It was not fulfilling anymore. I guess it was a little bit earlier. I was in the 40s. I went through a divorce. And I just said, it has to be more to life than this, right? I had the salary, I had the career, I had everything just like you, right? But it was just so boring, right? And it was not fulfilling. And then it changed, right?
Right.
All these endless meetings and no control of your own calendar, as you said, Jason, is like, you just go back to back meeting to meeting, and then you have to work Sunday night. Sometimes I post, every Sunday I post on LinkedIn, and I just write, so you sit here Sunday night as well, again and again and again. Why do you do that, right? Why don't you break free? But people are so stuck, so they don't dare. That is why I think it's really cool, and why, first time we met for a burger, it was like we were sitting there for 4 hours talking.
Yeah.
We did. I was like, they said lunch. I think we're at the dinner now.
But we realized we had so many things to talk about, right? We had so many commonalities to share, and it was easy.
And I think that's actually something that we're finding. The more travelers that we meet, the more people that have taken the leap, that there is that like mind, and I think maybe there's a path for people to follow to try to figure out how can they too do it, and so it's kind of it's wonderful to see a lot of people making the jump.
Yeah. And I think it's important. Life is about freedom.
Yeah. No, what's inspiring for us to see, since we've started our channel and we have all these followers now, is is that we see that we're inspiring people,
Right,
which
and we're
continues
like,
to inspire us. It's this like
goes back and
cycle
forth.
of inspiration.
It is.
Because you get a comment like that says, "Oh, you've really inspired me to really look into this, or to go to this place, or and now I feel like I can actually do this." Right? Those are the kinds of things that really like pump you up and make you feel like, what, this is worth it. What we're doing, sharing our lives with people.
Yeah.
It makes it worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
And you did it. A lot of people say, "Well, I wish I could do that, but I don't have the time or I don't have the money." And that, to be honest, it's just an excuse, right? Because you can. And you sold everything, which was my plan originally as well. Then we decided to keep the house. So then we started our business to finance our lifestyle, right? And there are so many ways to living a life that fulfills you, right? And I think what happens is exactly what you experience too, is that one thing is that you inspire other people, but also that your goal works on you as well, so you change, right? You change. When we look at, Ellen said that when we looked at pictures of you when you were back in the States in the hamster wheel, I mean, you have changed so much, right? It's a totally
Absolutely.
different energy, it's a totally different look, right? You are more fit, you
Right.
are more happy, you smile more and everything. And that is how it is to live the life you truly want. We don't say that you have to do exactly like us, that you have to buy a sailboat and sail around the world. Not like you sell
Right.
everything and just jump. But find a way to start to create your freedom. I think that is where we can inspire people. It is possible, right? It is possible. That it is effortless all the time? No, it's not. Sometimes it's hard.
Right.
We were 5 days illegal in Montenegro.
That's right.
Luckily we didn't get arrested, but well, we got a fine, and the fine was 600, but if I paid cash it was only 400.
But see, it's a good thing you're a
got the
businessman.
I got the receipt.
How else can we do this?
Yeah.
So, do you ever regret doing this, or like, I wish I didn't sell the house. I wish I didn't. I would like to go home and spend more time with the children, like family. Do you have some regret at all?
I think for me, it's different from do I miss owning stuff and from do I miss my children. I miss my children every second. Luckily, we talk a lot. Sometimes it's not talking about great things. Sometimes it's the car's not working, and I cherish that even. That they're still calling us about that because that's happening a lot lately. But for me, I haven't missed owning anything. I thought I was going to. The couch that we had specially made, or the rocking chair that we've had, that our oldest son grew. I haven't missed it. There's memories of it, but it's so freeing to not have all that stuff. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I was a little surprised about how easily I was able to disconnect from work. Like, as soon as I quit work and quit working, like, I didn't think about it at all. Like, and I thought that I would be in this different headspace where maybe it's like I'm kind of struggling with, where's that part of my brain functioning now? I'm not having to think through problems every day. Well, not the same types of problems. And so that was a little surprising that I didn't miss that in the least. Now I am still sort of looking for, how do I, aside from what we're doing with the traveling and the social media, how do I, sort of make myself complete, right? I'm still kind of working through that. I think that's a process that doesn't happen overnight. And so, but that's a different question from do we miss things? I would say I don't miss much. It's kind of weird. Like, once you don't have things, you don't really miss them anymore. Especially if you're like traveling the world, right? That's an easy way to take your mind off of the things you used to have.
Yeah. And because we become what we think about, right? So when we have a house, Ellen and me, we still define us as house owners, right? But you always become what you think about, and now you are world travelers, right? So you change your
Right.
self-image, right? Because we get stuck with all the things and all the old, and maybe the most important thing, in my perspective, is just do it, Don't be afraid. You will figure it out. Trust yourself, Trust the universe, whatever. Trust God. If that is wrong with you, it's like just trust. Just jump. Bob Proctor said that jump, and you will learn to grow wings on the way down.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
And I think one of the things is that as we were getting rid of things, it hurt because we felt like we worked so hard for them, and are we going to miss them? And then we let it go, and we realized all that energy and holding on to everything that we thought we needed is now being used elsewhere. Now we have the freedom to literally think about anything else but fixing the pergola in the backyard, or cutting the grass in the front yard, or any of
Or the
those things.
wildfires. You don't have
Yeah,
to
and
think
the
about
wildfires.
wildfires anymore.
That was a big reason to sell as well. We just decided we don't want to worry about those things when we're living our dream life on one side, but we still have the responsibilities on the other.
That's true.
Yeah. I think another thing that has made it a little bit easier for us to make decisions like this, and we tell this to our kids too, because we want them to go experience things, is none of these decisions have to be permanent, right? You can always go back. If you go and you try something and it's not what you think it is, that old life is still waiting for you. You can go do that if you want. It's going to be a little bit different, but you can still go back and do that, or you can find what else is there. But if you haven't tried something, you don't know if you're going to like it or not. And I've sort of conditioned myself to think about, when I hit a decision point like this, think a year from now, think 5 years from now, will you regret that you didn't try that? Like, I've sort of conditioned myself to say, the feeling of regret for me is worse than the pain of trying to make that decision right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's a
'cause it's never
philosophical
foolproof.
question too.
There's risk. There's risk everywhere.
Yeah, there is risk everywhere, and the biggest risk is not to do it, right? Because you don't,
Right.
and you will never, and then the cost of regret is lifelong, while the cost of doing it now is just fear and overcome, and then you grow.
Exactly. Yes.
And I think it's that fear of failure, the fear of judgment. Some of it was like, what if people are going to think we're crazy? What if
Yes.
it doesn't work and we come back
It's a very
and
common
like,
fear.
but
Yeah.
you know what? Our friends would be like, welcome back. That would be it.
Yeah.
But you have the personality where you don't care that much, right? Because the goal is more important than what other things, right? And that is important. A lot of people, they fall back. What will others say? And then people ask me, what will other things? I say, they don't, right? Most people don't think about you. They think about themselves all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So don't worry about that. Then the money thing, fix it, right? Find a way. Like Jason said, now that you are in a flow, in a good flow, and you free up, I'm sure you will find new ways that will fulfill you, right? If that is to start up your own business, if that is to do something completely different, or you start up a movie company, or whatever it is, right? You figure it out, right? I have an affirmation every day. That is that everything I touch becomes gold. I always find a way, right? It's all up to me, but that is the fun part.
Yeah.
So, well, we highly we appreciate you a lot, right? And just to meet you, that was Elin. And she said we have to meet these people, right?
We have to meet
Yeah, I
them.
think if the restaurant hadn't closed on us, then we probably would have still been there talking.
Yes.
Probably. And we were planning to go and visit you in Albania as well, but
No, we were not recommended doing that because of the safety
No.
of the boat, right? Because there are
Right.
no marinas there. So, but we are going to Corfu now, so you can just jump
so we
jump
can
over.
wave to you when
We will be in
Yes, we
Corfu
can see you
on
from our
Friday.
apartment. We can see it from here. But I think that's what's amazing about travel is that even though like we're making friends everywhere and everybody kind of splits and goes off in their own way, the world is becoming much smaller for us. We're realizing that, it's not a big deal to say, well, let's meet again in the next city. So it's been a lot of fun just opening the opportunities for us. And I think if we ever did decide to go back, we're going back as different people.
Yes.
We're coming back with different ideas and different perspective on everything. And so I don't think you ever do go back to that same job,
Yeah.
I rather that than go back to my old life, right?
Yeah. Oh,
There's
never.
no option. It's
But
just
I don't think you
forward,
could. I don't
forward.
think we could. Right? We broke ourselves.
Yeah.
But that's okay because you have to kill the old you, right? You take away the old model, you kill the old model, you burn it down, and then you create a new model. Right? And that
Yeah.
is how
Oh,
you
yeah.
create a new life. You don't change what you have. You just transition it to something new. That is the most effortless way to create something new. Is just to do it, right? But then you have to dare to give up what you had, at least most of it. Okay, well, thank you. It was great having you on board in this podcast. And let's stay in touch and see where life brings
Absolutely.
us.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Such a pleasure to be with you and to meet you.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
So to round off, since this was a To Your Success podcast, if you want to work with us and if you want to have help to do the same thing as Jason and Nancy, if you are an actor and you need a good coach for your acting, then Nancy is here. And if you want help to do whatever you want, right, we are here for you. ChristerJohnson.com. Connect with us on the Let's Talk button, and everything we do is to your success. Okay, see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If something in this episode spoke to you, it may be a sign that you are ready for a different kind of life. Krister and Ellen work with a small number of high achievers who feel it is time for their next chapter. If that feels like you can apply for a private clarity call through the link in the show notes. Until next time, to your success.